So as you probably know by now, we've been stuck in quarantine for quite a while. It's been kind of nice. It's given some of us the chance to discover or rediscover various hobbies. But for me, instead of worrying about IB exams that just wound up being cancelled, I got the chance to look more into genealogy, which is the study of one's ancestry and extended family. As I've been doing this more and more lately, I've been also kind of reflecting on the current situation and all the crazy things going on in our world right now, as well as reflecting on the principles and lessons I've learned from this hobby. And I've made a few connections that I'd like to share with you today. First off, who is our family? At first, we're inclined to list off our parents, our siblings, maybe children, aunts, uncles, and so forth, grandparents. While correct, the truth is that there are a lot of people out there that we really don't know about, even people who are surprisingly close to us. For instance, I had no idea about my second cousin, meaning we share a pair of great-grandparents, until my great-uncle and aunt hosted a sort of birthday party / family reunion of sorts a couple summers ago. This little, almost 7-year-old girl was a complete stranger to me until that day, though this entire time we were family, and it took us that long to even know the other one existed. And it felt so amazing knowing I was meeting my long-lost family. Through my own research, I've been able to discover the names and sometimes stories of various other degrees of relatives and cousins that I might have never known. This list of cousins is really long and seemingly random, including an insurance broker in BC, a country singer-songwriter from South Central Ontario, a former US president, civilians from small towns in southern Australia, and even a bunch of Canadian federal and provincial level politicians. Most of these people I'll probably never meet, but it's still possible to get to know them. Just this past week alone, I've had 2 different cousins reach out to me via email through my profile on one of the websites I commonly use for my research. As you can tell by my cousin portfolio, I have a lot of very different people within the branches of my family tree. And it's no surprise. No matter what form of human evolution you personally believe in, for example, Darwin's theory of evolution from a similar species, or the Bible's theory of one Adam and one Eve, most theories state that we all come from the same place. Now, it's common knowledge that the scientific belief is that modern humans started out in Africa and gradually made their way around the globe. Humans went all over the place, leaving us 500,000 years later, spread all across the planet, yet still sharing as much as 99.9% of our DNA with each other. And we're actually a lot closer related to each other than just by the first humans to have ever existed. In fact, some scientists believe that the farthest relationship you might have with another living person right now, you're probably about 50th cousins, meaning you probably have at least one approximately 49 times great-grandparent in common. Now, I'm not going to try to say that many greats, but this is essentially what it looks like. So, they probably lived around 50, 75, maybe 100,000 years ago. Does that sound right? Actually, those same scientists think that ancestor could have possibly died only 2,000 or 3,000 short years ago. That, at the same time, both is and isn't a lot. Based on how long humans have existed for, that's no time at all. But based on the amount of ancestors that it took to get us here, that's a ridiculous amount. Doing the math shows the number of our ancestors back to that generation too big to even fit on my calculator. Now keep in mind, this is only an estimated maximum relationship, so the number could be greater or less than that. Also, if you have ancestors that are greater in number than the people that have ever existed on the planet, then that proves that some of those ancestors were probably some degree of cousins of their own. But that's a discussion for another time. Now you can relax. It doesn't mean we're all going to end up as Habsburg jaws or genetic weaknesses, as anything beyond second cousins usually isn't considered incest or should produce low risk to offspring. But nonetheless, it still means it took a lot of people to get you here. All the people before had to, well, first of all, not die, then find their partners, have a child, but not just any child. It had to result in that exact combination of cells meeting that produced your ancestor. And then their children would do the same, all until you were born. AllOurQuestions did an amazing video that I will link to, but basically the point is, you should not exist, but you do. And the same goes for everyone else alive. We really are all miracles. Now, where am I going with this? In a crisis situation like the one that we're currently going through, we've seen both the best and worst of people. We've seen the drive-by events organized, birthday parties, weddings, and we've seen the hoarding of toilet paper and bottled water, presumably as some sort of potential sacrifice to magically just make this disease go away. We've seen protests and acts of solidarity, and we've also seen vile acts of exclusion and hatred. We know that we would never treat our own families so badly, But as I just said, we're all family. And family is an interesting thing. When I mentioned getting to communicate with distant cousins before felt amazing, I believe that it was the realization that we're connected somehow that made it feel different than communicating with a stranger. But the thing is, we're all connected. And a lot of the time, we as a society seem to forget that. All of this is especially why it's so incredible to see the acts of love and everything positive we're doing to triumph over the negativity. It's really just family helping and supporting family. We're praying for miracles when the miracles we need are all around us. Who knows when we'll ever really go back to normal, but we need to be there for each other until we do. Most of us have been doing such a great job of that, but others seem to be forgetting just how important everyone really is. The main message I'd like to share today is plain and simple. We are all family. No matter how different, no matter where, if it's your next door neighbor, your cousin you've known all your life, someone on the other side of the world. Florida man in the news yet again, somehow with even crazier antics than before. We're all family and we're all miracles, so let's remember that. We might be stuck in this for a while longer, but the least we can do during this time is try to help each other out, even in the smallest ways we're able to, because that's just what family is for. Thank you.